Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at my sister's gaming PC as well as doing a little bit of an upgrade to it. So this system was built in around 2016 to 2017, not exactly sure what year, but it was built for my sister so she could do her online classes for school as well as some gaming because at the time she just had a pretty junky laptop. This was also the second computer I ever built, and also a random little fact here is all the parts in this system are from Fry's Electronics. If anyone remembers Fry's Electronics, it's like the only system I ever built that has 100% of its parts from Fry's, which is pretty interesting. Rest in peace, Fry's. All right, so to open the case, there's two little thumb screws here. They are not captive, so you'll probably just lose them. The cover just slides off and kind of pops off there. The metal on this case is very flimsy. This was not an expensive case by any means. I'm not even sure what model this case is. I know the brand is Raid Max, but yeah, it has kind of this race car look to it. Yeah, here we have the internal guts of it, and I'm already seeing some, you know, little issues from back in the day coming back to haunt me. Other than the giant rat's nest of cables here, just so much of it. Oh my gosh, the Molex. So much Molex in here. Oh, that's PCI Express. Oh, we're not using PCI Express. Oh yeah, the card doesn't use PCI Express. Attached to our lovely Thermaltake Smart Series 600 watt power supply. It's 80 plus white certified non-modular power supply, which is great. But now that I think about it, I don't think there was a lot of options for power supplies at Fry's during that time, so that's probably why we went for that. And also this was kind of a budget system anyway, and that budget definitely shows up. The graphics card here is an MSI graphics card, obviously, it says right there. But this is an NVIDIA GTX 750 Ti, and this, fun fact, is the first graphics card I ever bought. And I'm just gonna remove it for now, because we are definitely swapping that card out. And what the heck is this? I put one screw. Is that even a proper screw for this? So we're just gonna yank this out. Look at that thing. It's a lot thinner than I remember it being. 2-slot card, and has a DVI and VGA, and underneath here, HDMI, which is pretty cool. What is going on here? This is attached to the 24-pin power connector. Oh my goodness, I just realized something. The case fan has a Molex power connector attached to it. If I remember correctly, some boards didn't have fans or something like that, so you just connected them into Molex and then they would go on all the time. That is interesting. Definitely gonna be swapping this fan out. This one's pretty noisy. This is very loose. Yeah, because I didn't tighten down one of these. Oh gosh, yeah. Just popped right out, but yeah, we're gonna be replacing this as well. Let's just take our RAM stick out. Pacific Sun memory. Well, reality, it's a stick of Crucial RAM. 16 gig stick of DDR4 running at 2400 megahertz. And yes, I plugged it into this slot here, the first slot, which is not where you're supposed to plug it in. You're supposed to plug it into the second one because that's the technical first slot. And so this is going to be replaced with a 2-stick 16 gig kit. That's my plan for that. So this is a Gigabyte motherboard. This is a ultra durable Gigabyte board. This is the GAH270M DS3H. This is definitely the chipset, the H270. Also, this probably dates the board a little bit more. It says Intel Optane memory ready. If everyone remembers Intel Optane, but this does have an M.2 slot, so we could put an NVMe drive in here, which I'm already planning on doing because the current drive in here is this PNY SATA SSD, 280 gig drive. Back then, that seemed to be perfectly fine. Let's take a look at that CPU. You know, just gonna take a look at it. Gonna see here. I don't think this thing has ever been repasted. Oh man. Okay. That's actually not bad. My goodness, there's a ton of dust around it. It is kind of dusty, but it is covered. 2016 or 2017, that's how long that thing's been on there. Also, this thermal paste is very strange. It's very silvery. This was some random thermal paste that I bought at Fry's, so I hope it doesn't have any metal in it. But we can kind of see what chip was in here. We can see that this is an i5 7400. I can't even see that. Thanks light. Now if my 6600 is a testament to CPUs lasting for years and years, then this one should still be fairly decent. Here we have the specs for the CPU in here. This thing is a 4-core, 4-thread CPU. So this is, I think, before they did usually do the two threads per core. It had a max frequency of 3.5 gigahertz, 6 megabytes of cache, bus speed 8 gigatransfers a second. And then we have a TDP of 65 watts. Okay, so that's gonna tell us when the system was built. So it was built sometime in 2017. I think it was like summer of 2017 was when I built this thing. It's also kind of funny that this year was the end of its service. Has graphics, has 4K support, which is interesting. PCIe 3.0, 16 channels. A lot of that thermal paste on here, which is very it's scaring me because it's shiny. And all the thermal paste I have are not this shiny or glittery. I don't know if it has any metal in it. You know, I don't remember if metal in thermal paste was a good thing. I may or may not have the tube of it either, so. Now typically in these videos, you would see they would do like a benchmark on this and then do a comparison later. But because this is my sister's computer, I don't want to mess around with installing software and other random bits and bobs on here. So that's why we're not going to be dealing with this. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what I need to buy to get this system upgraded. Probably need to do a little bit of a better cleaning as well. Yeah, we'll come back when I have all the parts and we'll get to building. All right, so I'm back from the store and we have quite a few parts here. So let's go over them real quick. Let's start off with our RAM. This right here is 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM running at 3200 megahertz from Team Group. I've used Team Group RAM in the past and it seems to hold up pretty well. For storage, we have this Crucial P3 1 terabyte NVMe drive. I've also used Crucial in the past. I also bought two 120mm fans. These are Arctic P12 fans. Never actually used an Arctic product, but I have heard good things about them. I also picked up this Asus Wi-Fi card with Bluetooth. For cooling, we have a Be Quiet Pure Rock Slim 2. Never actually used a Be Quiet product before, so it's gonna be kind of interesting to see. For power supply, I went with a 650 watt power supply by PowerSpec, which I think is the Micro Center brand. And I have used a PowerSpec power supply in the past and had no problems with it. Not super expensive, and it's semi-modular, and the size of the case, like we're not putting any crazy graphics cards or anything like that in here, so this should be more than enough. And speaking of crazy graphics cards, it's not that crazy. I have this NVIDIA GTX 1650 from Gigabyte. This is a card I've had for quite a few years. This was in my old gaming PC, and this was actually the original graphics card in my workstation that I actually did a video on a while ago. I have to re-upload that because I deleted the channel, so and it's definitely going to be an upgrade from what she already has, which was the 750 Ti, which is a 2 gig card, and this is a 4 gig card. So that should be it for parts. So let's get to building. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to redeem ourselves and actually attach the motherboard correctly. We're going to hopefully take the board out. I don't like the sound of that. I think the standoff is stuck. Ah, these screws are so tight. Oh, yeah, that's what I feared. Okay, there we go. Got the board out. Okay, easy does it. Easy does it. Now we're gonna have to probably get some pliers, and yeah, definitely gonna need get my pliers. I'll be right back. All right, managed to get them off with a socket wrench and some pliers. I don't know, it has something to do with the threading on the screws and the standoffs, so I'm just going to use some new ones when remounting this thing, and hopefully that works better. Let's just assemble this thing. Start off with our RAM, get a little sticker, that's cool. So we're going to do it correct this time. Correct slots, which is the 2nd and 4th. Goes in like that. Okay, goes in there just fine. There we go. Let's get the NVMe drive. Oh, it comes with the little little screw, not the standoff, weirdly enough. Little crucial drive here. This actually doesn't look too bad. I got the nice black NVMe drive and the RAM. It's actually pretty cool. Here's our cooler. So we're gonna do a quick little unboxing here. And I think there's some thermal paste on it, but I'll probably just apply some anyway and see how hard this is gonna be attached. I'm just gonna add some extra thermal paste. So let me get that. I have some TM30 thermal paste, coarse air, because that's what we have. Should go on just fine. And then to attach, it's really simple. You just hook them around like that on both sides. Latch it to the fins now. Seems to be on there just fine. Get this thing ready to fit into the case. I need to find out where the holes are though. So, oh man, these silver screws with the rest of it, that looks great. And that's in there. That's finally secured properly. Okay, let's get to that fan. So the fan's accessible from the outside. We're getting rid of this fan. It's an old style Raid Max fan with the Molex power. Just wanted to go for new fans because this old fan actually made a lot of noise. And I'm not sure if Arctic I don't think is known for quiet fans, but I decided to go for them just because I heard they were pretty good fans. This thing only had a rear fan and didn't have a proper intake. So that's what we're also gonna do. We're also gonna be installing a front fan. It's gonna go right here. So there we go, we got an intake fan. Okay, we got our power supply here. Yeah, let's just put this in. Okay, power supply is secure and looks pretty good. Oh, I do need to put a SATA power. So we got that. So we have a SATA cable and we have our power cables. And I'm going to route this cable underneath our fan cable. Okay, so that's in place. Definitely not the most ideal. This is pretty short. Okay, before we go any further though, I do want to install the front panel. And we got our HD audio. Should just plug into here. USB. So we can USB. We have USB 3.0, which will plug into the USB 3.0 header. We have reset switch. HDD LED is on the bottom here. This is probably not going to be the best cable management, but I am working with what I have. I do have a hard drive chassis for a 2.5 to a 3.5, which might fit down here, but I'll have to go get that. So I got my hard drive adapter caddy thing, and see if it fits. Okay, so it kind of fits. It's just a really, really tight fit. I think we're almost there. Let me install the graphics card now. Here's our 1650, and this thing just barely fits in here. I'll tighten it down later. Let me just get the last bit in there, which is going to be our Wi-Fi card. And this is unfortunately one of these breakaway things here, which thank goodness I brought my pliers so I can easily kind of snap this off. So we have a problem here. We have 3 USB cables and only 2 USB headers. Now I think I have a splitter though, so I could split one of these. Gonna go get that, but I'm just gonna fit it in here first. So we have our USB splitter here. Allows us to do do stuff like this. Plug that in, plug this in, and then that just plugs into our USB header. And there you go. We got USB and Bluetooth. Okay, now that we have that plugged in, fun part, cable management. Don't want to bore everybody. We'll get the cable management all done, and then we'll power it on and see if it works. Gonna push the power button. So it's the next day, and a lot has happened. I've updated the BIOS, installed Windows, installed all the drivers and whatever else was needed, and we're here. And we're going to do a CPU benchmark with Cinebench here to check to make sure that the CPU cooler is sufficient. I mean, it's a 4-core CPU, 4 threads, shouldn't be too bad. That's a pretty decent cooler, pretty large cooler on it. I'm just gonna do a multi-core test because this is the strongest test, and we'll ramp our CPU usage to 100%. And we're around 55, 56 degrees, so that's perfectly acceptable. So a couple other things I did off camera. As I mentioned before, I did update the BIOS. The BIOS that was in here was like a 2016 BIOS, so it was older than the CPU it was using. And also, while I was in the BIOS, I went to check to see about enabling XMP. I think because of the CPU that's running in here, being a kind of a low spec i5 from this CPU's generation, it didn't have the ability to go to 3200 megahertz. Its max speed is 2400. Now, I already kind of suspected that going into this when I looked up the spec sheet, and you may be wondering, why didn't I go for a set of 2400 megahertz sticks of RAM? Well, it's because I didn't want the sticks of RAM to be kind of useless if something changes. For instance, if my sister decides to upgrade the motherboard and CPU to more modern parts, we can get a board that uses DDR4 RAM and use it in there. And most modern CPUs will be able to utilize that 3200 megahertz. But even if she decides to go for, let's say, a board that uses DDR5, I could still make use of these sticks in one of my other systems that hits DDR4. And I'm the kind of guy that likes to have spare parts. This thing, I honestly don't think it's gonna finish. It currently says 2 minutes. Yeah, this thing's not breaking any records, and the current score is 145. I don't know. I'm just gonna wait. I'm curious to see what it scores, so I'm just gonna let it run. All right, so we have our score here, which is 189. This test wasn't to see how great the system is, it's just that if the cooler is sufficient, which it does appear because we didn't go above 50 degrees C. The highest was 58, but I think it was averaging around 56. So I think that'll just about wrap this video up. I'm quite happy with the results. I hope my sister likes it. Hope she can get some use out of this. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments section down below. Also, let me know what else you want to see on the channel. Be sure to check out my other videos. I'll have one linked at the end of the video that YouTube recommends. As always, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.